Whoa, ho, ho. Oh, man, it's been a rough day. Just filled 50 bags, over 50 bags, with leaves. Yeah, that was actually not that hard, but get you breathing a little hard. Anyways, um, so I am making this recording, if most direct and most deliberate, for Mr. Hogan, who, by the way, I voted for. This is not a threat, even though I promise you it's going to feel like one. You need to understand something which you probably personally don't have any comprehension of because it's totally insignificant to the great feats and great problems you face as the governor of Maryland. And I, simply just a young man living in MD, with a family who's lived in MD, Howard County. I guess it's the 50s or so, I don't know. Before that, Baltimore. Before it was technically Columbia. Yeah, anyways. But I come to you with great distress about what I'm going to have to do if something doesn't very drastically and immediately take place. You see, I have several situations, possibly even exacerbated by my own family. Unfortunately, minor ones still, though. Ultimately, the two most significant are the two I'm willing to describe for you. And the two that I need to go away in order for my life to go anywhere. And I believe you should see the reason and justification for both of our benefits as to why you should actually do this in such a manner as to which sort of goes outside what's supposed to technically and how it's supposed to technically take place. I have two federal charges right now. One for supposedly hijacking and trying to steal a police vehicle at Merriweather, which is not true. Like many people do, because it's very easy, I slipped through the fence at Merriweather, at which point I took a dilapidated old golf cart parked with the keys in it out for a joyride in the parking lot, and did a couple donuts, a rock concert. Hey, I've, paid my way plenty of times. Merriweather has made thousands of dollars off of me, starting with a Bare Naked Ladies concert, going into my graduation, my girlfriend's graduation at the time. Several different things. Anyways, what I need you to understand is this. This golf cart did not even have a license plate. Had absolutely no possibility of being worth over $1,000, frankly. And didn't even have anything to suggest that it was designated for security or official police business. So that's a big problem if you think about what bringing that up, say like a documentary filmmaker brought up some bizarre variables encompassing, say, 9/11 or Cuban healthcare crises and how they could maybe fix a couple cancer patients more effectively through what we consider a second world economy. Anyways, principally, my point to you is this. This is actually the smaller of the two significantly wrong situations, which I was implored to bite the bullet on. In fact, the worst one was this. Before you became governor, O'Malley put together a situation into which we were to decriminalize marijuana, and I think you have helped further such variables for the legalization and medical usage of such a thing. Anyways, unfortunately, 5 days before it went into practice, literally, unto which it would become a ticketable offense, not a jailable offense, even though he had signed it 5 months and 25 days before this incident, which everyone knew was about to go into act. After I was, briefed by a fellow LA Fitness member about ISIS when that first became a crisis, who also happened to be a NATO jet pilot. I don't know. We're near Washington. These guys are all over the place. Who knows? Anyways, within 1 day or 2 days, was thrown out of the gym, had my gym locker searched. Clearly, I could tell I was being investigated by the Baltimore County Police, and for what reason, I have no idea. I mean, I was walking in and out of the gym and smoking pot. I mean, big deal, especially considering the time we were living in. But they tried to take my passport. They took my prescription medication, which they had my passport to verify was clearly mine, because I have a very unique middle name. So clearly it was mine, which costs several $100s. A passport, which costs $300. And my marijuana. Why they were choosing to take my passport and my Adderall, something which makes me effective as a thinker, something which allows me the ability to leave the country, along with the marijuana, and were only willing to give me everything else back, which happened to be hundreds of dollars in supplements for my health, as well as personal documents, as well as personal things, because I was living homeless in Patapsco Park at the time, working 3 different stocking jobs during Halloween. One of them was party. I think it's 3 parties. Anyways, to make a living, because my insane ex-girlfriend was causing some trouble for me. Anyways, that's another story. Let's stay focused on these charges and why you and me would benefit greatly if disappeared. Anyways, so after not being given back my passport, my Adderall, or my marijuana, I was told to brush off. I was like, well, if I'm being told to brush off, I definitely want my cash back. I told them I paid cash about 2 weeks before this incident for 3 months, and I wanted it back ASAP. And they were like, well, we gotta get into this. I was like, listen, if you don't do this right, I'm gonna freaking rape you by calling your corporate and letting them know what bullshit this is. This is some bullshit which I'm not even going to get into, going down between individuals of federal proportions and local police, which I could nab the freaking shit out of you for. I didn't actually get into that detail, but I did use the slanderous term, I will rape you, by calling corporate and letting them know how obviously wrong this is, and how badly I could severely desecrate your corporation for this sort of thing. You better get me that money. I'm going to the Bars Loafers. I'm going to have a drink. When I get back here in 1 hour, you better have my cash. Now, nobody likes a tough guy, but sometimes you gotta play one. Anyways, they had the cops come and intervene with me, even though I was in my rights to say such a thing. They knew I didn't mean I was going to literally pull down my pants, put my penis in one of their holes, and rape them. That was clearly obvious. Even though the prosecutor who prosecuted me only used that context in that sentence to make it look like I was literally threatening rape, sexual dominant rape, not I'm going to fuck over your image with corporate, get you all fired because you know this was wrong. Threaten to sue your corporation because it's that serious for me. Anyways, once I was told to leave the bar to talk about the situation, I was being quite reasonable. I could have said, you have no right to pull me out of this bar right now. I've done nothing illegal. Anyways, I left. I guess they didn't want to be in cameras. Anyways. I was in a situation where he was like, well, what are we going to find in that locker? I was like, are you seriously going to bust me? I was thinking to myself, are you going to bust me for pot 5 days before it gets decriminalized? But I look behind me, he puts his hand on my shoulder, says, don't you look that way. He just pointed that way, and I don't know, by reaction, I was just like, huh? Over there, where, what? But immediately, I put my finger in his face. Not too close, but I put it up because he's already close enough. I said, don't you touch me. At that point, he grabs my finger and I pull it back. And I find myself being beaten up by 3 cops claiming I pulled his finger based on the write-up I found and read in the jail cell, holding cell at Towson, Baltimore, which led to a situation where I was not supposed to be supervised. But surprisingly enough, somehow I broke my probation. I guess, I don't know, you're still not supposed to leave the state whether or not it's supervised. I didn't get that. Leading to, I think, about 3 months worse than a life sentence, the full jail time, which is 1.5 years, for the maximum penalty of resisting an arrest, which is the only thing they actually got me on because they realized if they tried to get me for anything else, it would have made them look very stupid. Because when they threw me to the ground, I was wrestling a little bit. I didn't try to, throw them down. I was just kind of shaking around, like you can't do this to me. And I was bleeding. That's an assault on a man without a weapon by a man with a gun. After being physically contacted first by him. Being backed up by a white woman and a black man, backing up a Hispanic veteran cop on a white male. Now, I know you're all thinking, oh, don't take it there. Every single one of those 3 would have taken it there if the professionalism was reversed. And clearly would back up anyone put in the paper, thus then therefore put in that position. You get where I'm going? I've way more stories from Maryland, trust me. But if these 2 variables, if I'm forced to publicize them to the world like a Freddie Gray protest because you aren't smart enough to just snap your fingers, which I know you can, so be it. If you want me to take it another step further by making a Michael Moore grade documentary, which trust me, I'm very capable of, I will. And there will be something which goes down in history like Anne Frank's, or the little Jewish girl, I'm not sure if I'm messing something up with Ayn Rand. Anyways, the little girl stuck in the attic, the one that I was taught about in grade school. Anyways, a historical document which validates your cynicism, your getting away with something critically wrong. In her case, in Frank's case, that didn't happen because the Nazis were beat. But that's what could take place in your sister majority German town. And I'm really not trying to be a dick. I'm part German. I've been in Maryland for the last 3 generations based on a German immigrant. So, anyways, getting past the BS. Let's make something happen here, because if it doesn't, I can assure you, this is not going to go well for you. And it's going to be a pain in the ass for me.